Working on a garden railroad can be a great stress reliever after long days on the set, but most of the construction here was done during the show's hiatus.
Literally 1 in the morning, sometimes I'd be out there digging. It was my compulsive behavior just to want to get it done.
No surprise that with that kind of energy, the layout was done in just 3 months. Now 4 trains run flawlessly through green, more reminiscent of Switzerland than Santa Monica.
I decided at a certain point I didn't want any maintenance at all, so I put a concrete road bed, which allows me to just hose it off if I want, hose the track. If leaves come on it, I can take a blower or anything like that. It's just real easy to deal with.
Joe's had the Hollywood movers and shakers over for dinner and backyard parties, producers, agents, directors, and stars. Do they want to talk deals, percentages, Nielsen's, or ARBs? No. Joe says the first question is, can we see the trains? 300 feet of track, 8 switches, automatic block operation, trains dispatched to here and there, and your railroad background is non-existent. Joe says,
be fearless, be a little ignorant. Kind of go out there and say, I can do this. And you try it and you have a good time. And I've tapped skills that I had no idea I had. I mean, I'm the maker of mountains now.
Joe's back on the set at Warner Brothers now, but he will be moving more mountains in the future, no doubt. Now, before we went to talk to Joe, we were talking about collector's cars, and there is one more I'd like to show you. It's in Wolfgang's office, and less than a dozen were made. It's the McDonald's car. It was made to celebrate a grand opening. In Buena Park, it's Big Macs and big trains. They go together like hopes and fries, rails and ties. It's a tourist attraction, Knott's Berry Farm, that draws people from around the world to the park down the street. On their way, they often stop by here. Nicholas is from Australia. Owner Peter Horner might be surprised if the Australians become regulars, but he does have some steady customers from the other side of L.A., hours away.
First week he had come with a friend of his, and the second week he had brought his parents down just to see the trains because his dad was a retired engineer from the railroad.
Golden arches and wooden trestles. Is it a mix that makes sense?
I would estimate that it's probably good for 25 or 30% of our sales minimum.
Bet Wolfgang never thought he'd see the day that L.G.B. trains brought customers to McDonald's.
Well, people that have come here from Salt Lake City just to see the train.
So who cooked up this combo? Peter had Lionel's as a kid. This gives him the bug. In 1981, he sees his first L.G.B. It is a freight starter set. He is hooked. Living on a hillside in Santa Ana, Peter can't go outside with his trains. He puts them up and takes them down from time to time. He starts a little collection. As they say in L.A., fast forward to 1989. Peter is about to open a new McDonald's and sees his big chance to have his big trains out all the time.
I guess this gave me a little bit of an opportunity to have a little bit nicer setup and have the room to display it.
A little chat with partners William and Mark Brownstein and Brian Carmack, and the rest is history.
Customer reaction has been fabulous.
A recipe for success with moguls and mayo, boxcars and burgers, topped off with the sweet sounds of a cash register ringing and the dreams of a young man fulfilled. Making dreams come true. Part magic, part luck, lots of hard work. It's every parent's dream for their children at Christmas. Trains at Christmas. You know the feeling. Going to the mall, listening and watching as the engine you want this year pounds on by a snow-covered layout. It's the stuff dreams are made of. Okay, so this monster layout is not going to find its way into your den. Fear not. If you have room for a 48-inch circle of track, you are in business. It helps define the season. Music playing, the sound of trains, kids. A layout will grow with the family, and LGB makes everything you need from the ties up. Some buildings from Pola and trees from the Christmas store, and you can get close to the look of that layout on the mall. LGB is rugged, it sets up quickly, and it's easy to put away. You say you don't want to put it away? Carl Fetzing got a present from his wife. He didn't want to put it away either. Let's check it out. It was a typical house on a quiet street until Carl Fetzing got the LGB fever.
I started about 5 years ago when my wife first got the engine and the 2 cars.
I think when I got him the initial set, I had no clue that it was going to come to this. But I knew he got real serious when he cut a hole through the house.
I can run them out of the garage with this homemade transformer here. When the train leaves the garage, it comes in through here along the back of the wall, through the bedroom, out to the backyard.
Pretty fancy way to get the rolling stock rolling outside. Now tell me again how this got started.
Well, it started out just with one loop around the backyard, and my wife came up with the idea she wanted a town, thought it'd be cute. And so I just started to build a town. I kept on digging out more of the backyard and kind of flipped out, I guess.
Carl found that flipping out with LGB fever is easily cured with doses of moderation.
That's what's great about this hobby, is that you can just do a little at a time. You get tired, you can do something else and go back to it.
Fran Fetzing found that LGB fever stimulated her creativity.
I think that we both tend to be on the creative side, and we both sort of took off with what we like. For me, it's like playing dolls again. I love it. I love the miniature aspect of it. If you look over toward the church, you see the little wedding there. That's really what I love to do. That's Aunt Millie's farmhouse, and so if you think back to, at least I do in my childhood, I had an aunt who lived out in the farm, and I try to think, okay, what goes out on a farm? Well, it doesn't have to be the best house in the world. In fact, Aunt Millie's is close to falling down over there, but it's functional and it's homey.
Fran will tell you the trains aren't just for men.
When my brother and I were growing up, we had trains along with my dad, and we'd go down to the basement all the time and play trains.
Carl is in charge of the rolling stock. 25 to 30 engines, 150 cars. Sound like a collector? Not at all.
If I buy it, I want to run it. That's why I bought it. I bought it to run it. I'm not one to sit in the box and collect dust in the garage or something.
Fran is the superintendent of green. She tries to save it, the stuff with George Washington's picture on it, and keep the rest of the green looking lush.
I went to the library and started reading up on bonsais. If you go out and buy bonsais that are this size, they're a small fortune. So what I learned is that you can take any plant, keep it small. I plant most of them in the pots. That keeps their roots all compact, and just keep them chopped down at the top, and they stay small.
For the Fetzings, the hobby is more than the hardware.
Our children are all grown and gone from the house, and I think a lot of people our age have an empty nest syndrome. We went the opposite way. We adopted trains.
And like any proud parents, they like to show off their family to visitors. Carl and Fran hold several open houses each year. What do they get out of all this?
Fun, mostly. Fun and friendship.
Fun, friendship, and family. The ultimate result of a severe attack of LGB fever. Just ask the Fetzings. Or just ask Wolfgang. You'll be surprised. With a whole building full of trains to sell, the last thing you would expect him to say is,
start small, start slowly. Just let one engine run around a circle, add some cars.
Slowly, moderately. Two good watchwords for people in the hobby. They don't cut it when a customer is waiting to get his trains back into operation. With this in mind, Nick is rushing to get the outgoing shipment to the UPS man. They are loaded and on their way home. Like all of the inventory here in San Diego, from new trains to parts, the repair jobs are tracked by Lars and the crew in LGB's computer center. Computer programmers, repair specialists, layout designers, the building's full of them. But the hobby's for just folks, too. Earlier you heard Joe Regalbuto say that he had no hobby skills when he started out. Ingo learned train repair on this little 2020 steamer here. And now it's your turn to learn. Smoke units do burn out from time to time. Now, Ingo will fix it. You can just ship it in. But Ron Gibson can save you that trip to the post office.
First thing to do is you'll determine that the smoke unit is bad, is to take a small pair of either dikes or needle nose pliers, reach in, grab the smoke element very carefully and pull up. You can reach up, pull the element out just till the wires get taut. Snip the wires with just a little bit left there, and if you lead over like this, make sure they don't trace back inside. The replacement smoke unit is a 2085/3. The smoke unit itself basically slips back into the hole by splicing the wires together and insulating them so that they don't short out. I always leave about 3 inches of wire on here. Simply strip the wires back. Can be done with diagonal pliers or with wire strippers that are available at any electronics hardware type store. Okay, you've got your wires apart. Proper soldering techniques tell us to tin your wires. By tinning your wires, what we mean is to take and put a little bit of solder on the wires so that when we attach the other wires to them, the wires attach very easily. Make sure your tip of your iron is clean. Proper technique is to heat the wire and then add the solder. Okay, now matching black to black and white to white, which isn't super critical, but good practices tell us to do it this way. Heating the two wires together, tug on them to make sure that, see, they don't really take much solder once they're tinned and put together like that. I always tug on them to make sure that they're not going to come apart, because if they're going to come apart, they're going to come apart just after you put the locomotive together and wrap up the job, so it's good to test. We recommend our 5001 smoke hood. Reason being is that if you use a lamp oil or something that's made to catch fire, the smoke element gets hot, it gets low, the lamp oil catches fire, and if there's anything, the train's going underneath a Christmas tree or under anything that could be flammable by a little bit of flame, it's best to use the smoke fluid that's made by the manufacturer. Now, what I'm using here is black electrical tape. There's all kinds of tapes that you can use. You can use heat shrink tubing, which is common in most electronic stores. Now, just a matter of pushing the wires and everything back down in the stack, which by grabbing here and pushing short amounts in, because the wire is pretty flexible, and just to press back in carefully across the top. You can just take and push it so it's level, and she's repaired. The real test is put a little fluid in, and make sure the switch on the back of the cab is set to the center position, which gives you light and smoke, and make contact with a set of the wheels here.